day 3, the Read to Lead reality TV show. The early morning drills in sporting activities are considered necessary and of paramount importance in the house, with the housemates as some other stakeholders as usual. Drastic changes were observed the second day as against the previous one, as the housemates now came out for sports in footwears for sports.
Why did you ever come so near? Why did you suddenly disappear? I felt secure until we kissed. Why did you suddenly disappear? Why did you ever come so near? Why did you suddenly disappear? I felt secure until we kissed. I feel you.
Time for breakfast.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Suraj Ajiboye delivered a lecture, Role of ICT in Reading Culture, dovetailing into digital literacy. According to him, the lecture, he said, will be participatory, where the housemates also contributed.
We have Nigerian office, we also have Zimbabwe office and Kenya office. I'm here to present the role of ICT in reading culture. By definition, what does that mean? It means how does ICT, is there anyone who does not know the meaning of ICT? Okay. The use of IT, information technology, to improve our reading culture. How does it improve our reading culture? What can we do to improve reading culture using information technology? I'm sure at one time or the other you have all used internet or computer laptops or desktops at one point or the other, isn't it? So the subject of discussion today is to look at how does the IT or computer assist in our reading culture? Where does it come in? And those are the things we shall be discussing and deliberating. I want this exercise or this discussion to be engaging, meaning that we will all be talking together and be discussing about the role of ICT in reading culture. If you look at what we have presented on the screen at the moment, you will see a lady using the candle or wherever with a small table, reading on the desk, isn't it? Yes. I'm sure that is what we all do at one time or the other. So, there's a second slide which shows the use of ICT in reading. And if you look at that, you will see that compare the student in the first slide to the second one. What do you see?
There is improvement.
Okay, improvement in what?
In the process and what they use in reading.
Okay, could you mention one or two of them?
The first one was using a candlelight and a textbook writing, while the second page, they showed students using computers.
Okay. Yes, Blessing, you wanted to say something? Who was, okay, yes, sorry.
Even in their physical appearance, they look more enlightened and happy to do what they were doing just from using candle.
Very correct. Yeah, any other thing? Yes, please.
What I can see is that the first person that was using candle light to read, the reading very soon, as in few times, the reading will become bothersome. It's not going to be interesting. But here, the reading will be interesting. They will, as in they will have there will be enthusiasm, as in true enthusiasm in the reading.
Very good. Yes.
From the pictures. In the first one, the lady, it's not easy. It's not as easy as the second. And most students will look for the easy way. In the first place, it's only a person. But here, we have, I think about 5 of them.
Very good point. You are going to be evaluated or assessed based on the comments and the recommendations that you give at the end of this exercise. So I'm going to talk about a little bit on the next one. What does ICT, what is the definition of literacy? Well, we call it digital literacy. Digital means you are using computer, whether it is laptop, iPad, or whatever, as long as it's digital form, to improve your reading culture. So there's a definition, if you look at that definition, which says that digital literacy is what? As important as reading, writing, and even your mathematical computation in the modern world. So whatever you are doing at the moment in school, the way you are taking notes and so on and so forth, they can be likened to reading and writing habits, as well as the mathematics that you do in the modern society. The eventual goal is to help get more people connected. If you listen to him, that was his point, that you now have more people getting access to the same information. In our various classes, the teacher comes in and then only talks to maybe class A or class B or class C. When he gets to the next class, probably the teacher is tired and is saying something else. The information may not be complete as what he taught class A. So in order to avoid that, you put the information in a digital form, which is accessible to more than class A. And so they all have the same basic information, and so the spread of that information becomes wider and is not distorted. And that is the reason for using digital to communicate to the rest of the world. So, like I said, the goal is to get more people around the world connected and to help them use ICT and internet in more active ways through what? Self-education. Meaning that you do not have to wait for the teacher to come to you. You can decide to pick whatever you need, whatever information you need, and then you teach yourself. You learn from it, from whatever you are given. And that is the whole of essence using digital literacy. The teaching and learning basic digital skills as a tool for improved reading culture include, one, computer literacy. Before you can say you want to use ICT in improving your reading culture, you must be what? Computer literate. By literacy means you must be able to write. You must also be able to read in computer terms. So what do? You need to be able to know how to use the laptop or to use the desktop in writing or in reading. You also need to be able to understand the use of keyboards, how to move around within the system, and so on and so forth. You, in addition, must know how to use the basic internet that is a common knowledge now in the whole world. Is there anyone who has never used the internet before? No? We all have used the internet at one time or the other. So it is an essential ingredient to using the digital, digital literacy. One critical thing about the internet is the facility to use the online search for your research work. Say, for example, I've just had a word called empathy, and I've never used it before. I don't know the meaning. I want to know it. I do not have to go and be looking for dictionary. Once I have access to the internet, I Google and I type the word empathy. I will come across millions of interpretations in the word empathy. So I will have to read, and so you have the information at your fingertips. And so that is the advantage of using digital without having to, run to your teacher, to the students, to run to the teacher, or to run everywhere to colleagues. You can easily use the information that you have on the internet to get to the root of the definition or the meaning of any single word. The same way, if you are looking for, let's even say you are given a thesis or a write-up to do, and you want to be able to know what kind of information you need to put together, what do? You again go to the internet and research. Somebody must have done it at one time or the other, and probably place the information on the internet. So you need to there's no point reinventing the wheel in these days. Where you have come across certain things that has not been done before, and you are going to be the first time or the first person to do it, then you can also help others by placing such information on the web. That way you are reaching to millions of people instead of talking to your friends like Blessing, Destiny, and so on and so forth. There are also basic information that you need to know. What are the file types? If I am going to use a computer to pull out information, this information are stored in different forms. What it means is that when I save an information on the web, I can save it to be of a particular type, meaning that you can only use a particular tool to open the document to read. So you must know, in general terms, at least the basic ones, what are the different types of terms or types of file that you can have on the internet or that you can use to upload to use the ICT. Number one is the JPEG. JPEG is spelled all files, any computer file that has an extension. You know what an extension is? An extension is a name that is associated with the type of application that is used to create the file. An application like what? Word. Can somebody give me another one? A Word document? Have you heard of Word document before? Yes? Sorry?
Microsoft Word.
Microsoft Word, yes. Next one?
Microsoft
Excel?
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint? Adobe Reader?
Access.
WordStar?
Microsoft Access.
Access. Correct, go.
Read to Lead Africa is here again. Africa's premier teenage cerebral and entertaining reality TV show is back with Season 3, The Emergence of Stars. For 30 days, 90 housemates of the Reach to Lead house shall battle for the grand prize of 2 million naira in scholarship and other fantastic prizes. The contests include words arrangement, spell it, public speaking, declamation contest, mumble jumble, fastest and best, critical reasoning, mastermind series, the great debate and lots more, plus sports, parties, music, drama, and plenty of laughter, showing daily on these channels. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can also watch episodes on our YouTube channel. Visit www.readtoleadafrica.tv or call 0802-315-7972 or 0818-331-9200. Produced by Reading Awareness Society for Development in Africa, RASDA. Read to Lead Africa Season 3, The Emergence of Stars. Don't miss a moment.
Importance of ICT in reading culture improvement. One is the online library. You do not have to go to the physical library anymore. The library is just permanently there now on the internet. Increased level of computer literacy, because it is good that you know what to look for, how to go about looking for it, and then the use of keyboard and how fast you can work on them. Audiobooks and pictorial topic presentation has been a very good help to students to better understand the subject matters. Do you agree with me? Yeah, there are some students who are not good at reading for too long, but listening to audiobooks, visuals, they are able to memorize and, put a lot of things in their brain. And some of them prefer, they perform better than those who rely on books. You look at the risk of the first picture. I'm using a candlelight to read, and I have my books beside the candle. Now, it is possible that you have bought the book at, let's say, 1,000 naira. Now, in between, just because I have an exam tomorrow, I'm reading my book, and then I fell asleep. And in the process, my hand hit the candle. What do you think will happen? It burns the book. It will probably even burns the table. So bringing out further cost. So what does that mean? You have lost the book, you're going to buy another book. But if you have something on the internet which you have downloaded, even if you print such a book, you can easily go back and store and pick the book again at no cost, no extra cost, isn't it? So you see the advantage of using audiobooks and technology in driving or improving our reading culture, and saving cost. Meetings and class notes, like we are doing, taking notes, interviews are now stored directly on iPad, iPhone, some even on your direct phone. You take notes, like I've been here for a while. Some guys have been telling me, you should not remember, you should not forget to do this, to do that. I don't have to put them in my brain. Yeah, I take care of my notes, my phone, and I store them there. Those are part of digital. I must be able to use my phone to be able to put certain things in my phone to remind me of activities that need to take place. In the same way, when you go for meetings or you are taking notes, if only we are allowed to take iPad and small laptops into our various classrooms, we can use those things to record. That way, it becomes part of you. This note, when you go back, maybe water pours on it, it's over. Because they are just paper. So, but in the case that where you have the information stored in the digital form, you can easily send it and put it on your email, send it to your friends, and you can always pull it back, as a backup. So those are advantages of how the ICT helps in improving your reading culture and have a repeat of what you have. There's a saying that to hide information, put it where? In a book. Why? Because very few people go to read a book. I'm going to tell you a story which happened about 15 or 20 years ago. I can't even remember how many years now. When I was planning to migrate, let me call it immigrate to Canada, the information was on the internet. But at that time, how many people, how many offices, how many companies had internet facilities? Very few. So my company, which was a bank, used to be one of the few who had access to internet. So I downloaded and I heard that a lot of people were migrating to Canada, so I said, okay, let me give it a shot. I went on the internet, downloaded the forms, and I told my friends, I've printed these forms, about 5 of them. I think we should give this thing a try. They said, yeah, but it's okay. But imagine, they didn't want to do it. It's not that they didn't like to do it, but they had no means. There was no way they could have access to the internet. So I downloaded the form, gave it to them, and but because it was voluminous, there was no time. They could not understand why they had to go through the whole form. I did it, went through it, and I submitted the form. And that's how I got a legal stay in Canada. After that, I put so much pressure on them. Nothing happened. So I eventually happened to be the only one who traveled. So, but what am I trying to say? That when people want to give information, if you want to hide it, put it in a book somewhere. Very few people will go there. And that is why you need to improve on making sure that it's not only because I'm taught maths and I only want to know maths. You read other subjects. You search for information. You research. You know, that is how to get information and help you in your reading ability. Information, the ICT has also been able to give us a good spread at a good speed. You're able to get what you need faster, and then you also, more people are also able to have access to the same information. You know, unlike what you used to obtain in the classroom. You create it once. For example, whatever I'm teaching now, we are going through, I do it once. I already have it in digital form. If you say you don't need it, I'll only send it to your emails. I'm able to send the same information to almost 19, 20 people at the same time. It is important that as we embrace technology, especially ICT, that we pay attention to certain things, especially that we are growing up and as we are housemates, things that we must be able to, or we do them with minimal effort, I mean with minimum contribution, in the sense that if we pay too much attention to them, they may derail us from achieving our life goals. Number one is the internet obsession. Please do not be obsessed with the internet. It is a good tool. I'm in the field. I studied computer science. I graduated computer science. Of course, I have my master's MBA in another course, finance accounting, because there's no point for me to know what I graduated in and then I'm still doing my master's in that area. So I am in the field and I know what it means to be obsessed with the internet. So it's a waste of valuable time, I must confess to you, unless you find yourself in that profession and encourages anti-moral and social behavior. Yeah, I've been in meetings with people and I know what I've gone through. I'm meeting a friend or a colleague for his business matter, and this guy is doing what? He's chatting, you know, and I'm discussing serious business. So I know what implication it has, and I also know the number of homes that have been destroyed by just paying too much attention to the internet and BB, BlackBerry. It is good to be socially compliant. But please, for God's sake, know when to use it. Do not spend your 24/7 on the internet. Use it only when necessary, unless you are or intend to specialize in IT technology with good discipline and result orientation. And like I said to you, I'm into IT. My world revolves around it. But I can tell you today, I do not have iPod. I deliberately made sure that I do not have internet installed on my phone, deliberately. Because I know how much hours I spend at home or in the office on the internet. So, because by doing that, some aspect of your life may suffer. And so, please, let's pay attention to what we use the internet for. Educative program and less social media. A lot of us use now to do films, video games, football, social media, TV, and GCM have created the most debilitating subculture. Yeah, I have a friend who loves so much football, and whenever they play, he hits his leg on the wall. So I'm spending the whole of my time watching Chelsea and Manchester and so on and so forth. Yeah, those guys are counting millions of dollars. So, you know, do it, you know, let's manage how we use the social media, you know, over educative programs. Take control of technology and not the technology taking control of you. Yeah, So do not say, okay, because the social media, the phone is always there, and I can always chat with my friend, and so I must always be there on the phone 24/7. No. You should be the one to control the technology. Distorted information, be careful. Just as the internet is a good source of information, it can also be full of jargons. Question of God's existence. People can be asking, does really God, does he exist? You know, so even as much as we are telling you that you use the ICT to improve your reading culture, be mindful of the kind of information you go to search and download to read. You know, so do not go for distorted information that Jesus did not die on the cross, or that Muhammad instructed that you kill the unbelievers, etc. It's because you are fighting a cause. You know, we are all Muslims, we are all Christians, but that's our faith. But be mindful of the kind of information that you download or from the internet or using the ICT to download from. The first trend in the use of unacceptable English practices, such as you to mean you, and WC to mean welcome. What again? You have so many of them. Guys, that's not what you are going to write down when you get therefore or before. I've seen that a lot of places, even at the corporate world, when people communicate officially, they write WC. You are welcome, you WC. And you're talking to an MD of an organization who wants to give you a job. How will you get a job? You know, so those are the things. It's good to do that, but be mindful of what you are doing. So the fast food instead of the cooked food. You know, everybody is fast because you don't want to write the word welcome in full. You are writing WC. So the same way that you are looking for, instead of you to go and cook nice food at home, you are going to the eatery. Thank you very much. This is going to be the end of this presentation in terms of how we can use the ICT in improving our readability culture. I'm going to entertain a few questions before we move on to the, what is it called? Before we get on to the quiz time, to hear what you have to say. And then we'll take a few questions from what we have here.
Reach to Lead Africa is here again. Africa's premier teenage cerebral and entertaining reality TV show is back with Season 3, The Emergence of Stars. For 30 days, 90 housemates of the Reach to Lead house shall battle for the grand prize of 2 million naira in scholarship and other fantastic prizes. The contests include words arrangement, spell it, public speaking, declamation contest, mambo jumbo, fastest and best, critical reasoning, mastermind series, the great debate and lots more, plus sports, parties, music, drama, and plenty of laughter, showing daily on these channels. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can also watch episodes on our YouTube channel. Visit www.readtoleadafrica.tv or call 0802-315-7972 or 0818-331-9200. Produced by Reading Awareness Society for Development in Africa, RASDA. Read to Lead Africa Season 3, The Emergence of Stars. Don't miss a moment.
Yes.
So people used to say that.
Could you tell us your name?
My name is Akite Odambela. Some people used to say that when you're checking information on the internet, you're over-dependent on the internet for everything. But some teachers will also ask you to go to the internet, check journals from intellectuals around the world. So is that acceptable? As in, is checking information on the internet an act of over-depending on the internet or not?
Okay. I will answer that question by saying, going back to the same thing. I've just told you exactly the same by telling you that, okay, use the internet because you can get all the basically all the information that you need, isn't it? And at the same time, I've just warned you, do not use the internet, do not become possessed, or obsessed with the internet, right? So by saying that, let's say, for example, I'm in the class and I'm being taken through a particular course study, physics, maths, or whatever. And after the lecturer, and I've asked the lecturer a certain question and he's still not able to answer the question, I have to go and look for the information, isn't it? So the last resort will be internet. So if I use the internet to get the information on that, to come to a better understanding of that subject, then I've used the internet for a good use.
My name is Suraj. So at what age can we start using computer?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I normally tell people that I do not think there's a problem with a child starting to use computer at the age of 5. My child starts at 3. At age 3. Okay, maybe because I'm into IT. So right from 3.5 years old, he already started knowing how to go to www.yahoo.com or google.com. However, that's not what I handed over to him. Because when you have a child and you want him to start using the computer, you also need to monitor him. So what I did was, there were some of these educational programs on mathematics sites, that's where I took him to. Those things that we sing song A, B, C, D, and E, F, and so on and so forth. And he got used to them. So he started going to start, because at that age, that's the only thing he could type. Yes?
You said that students can use IT devices to record notes from their teachers.
Sorry, say that again.
You said students can use IT devices to record notes as when the teacher.
Yes, that's correct.
From them. So in most schools today, students are not allowed to bring those devices into the school.
Yes.
So what's your take on it?
Okay, I'm aware of that. Okay, one of the reasons, you also cannot blame the teacher for restricting access to those devices, because they know that how many students will be able, like we are talking about, we have been here in this session and we are talking about restricting access and making sure you don't become obsessed with the internet and so on and so forth. As a teacher, you hold the responsibility of ensuring that your students listen to you in the class, and that you are able to also impart the knowledge they require, and that they do not overuse or misuse the devices if they are allowed to. I know of a school in Kenya, if the government in Kenya, who is currently, the government there has been trying to distribute laptops to students, even at primary level. So if the government is saying, or some schools are saying, no, the students should not be allowed to bring devices, the other schools are saying, okay, yeah, let them bring the devices, and then we are going to teach them how to use the computer to study. It has its pros and cons. You give them the laptops, the students take the laptops home, they destroy it, maybe from power outage or whatever, and then the cost goes back to the government. The students, the teachers who are restricting students from bringing those devices want to control their sessions to make sure that after the session, you can take away your devices or use your devices now better, but not in distracting the class session.
Nowadays, we use the ICT for communications, but communications like chatting amongst ourselves. What can you say to that pertaining to education? Will it make our education, will it boost it, or it will mar it?
Okay, it depends on what you are using the chatting for. If the chatting is just to say hi to your friends, when you should be reading, then there's already a problem. So, but if you are using the chat to ask a friend about a subject, to say, oh, have you done this assignment? How did you do it? What can you say about this? Then that is becoming educative. You see, so you should understand what to use those tools for. Do not spend so much time chatting with a friend to say, oh, we are going to be there, I don't like this, and so on, when you should be studying your books.
What can you say about sick patients?
About what?
Sick patient.
A sick patient.
Asking for advices in the internet. Like asking for drugs to be used.
Asking for what?
Drugs or medicine to be used.
A message. Medicine to be used, okay. Now, it depends on who you are. I had a family, a member of the family who got sick, and of course I never heard about it. That was my first time of hearing. Have you heard about hepatitis? Yeah. Hepatitis, he had hepatitis, and he was taken to an hospital here in Nigeria, and the doctor said, yeah, there's nothing wrong with him, or he's sick, he's terribly sick, and so on. They took him from here, they took him to Ghana. The Ghanaian doctors also didn't know what to do. Then, the Ghanaian doctors said now they are going to operate on him, and that his liver is already getting bad, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. So what did I do? And then when they called me, I just went to the internet and I Googled. It was my first time of hearing hepatitis. That was how many years back? I can't remember. So I Googled and I said, operation, hepatitis? This cannot be true. So I called and I said, leave him. Just bring him over to another place. I was only lucky to be in Kenya at the time, and I had friends who could get him in. And they brought him in. He was looked after by a professor. And the man checked him and only prescribed. He said it was not that bad, and gave him prescription. And he was well within 1 week. Now, what that tells me is that if we had left him here, they would have operated on him for no cause, for no reason. You know? And I was checking, let me give you another example. I happened to have a small accident on the road from Ibadan to Lagos. And I went to see a doctor just immediately after the accident. And the doctor was telling me all sorts of stories, and then I decided, let me check on this doctor. I asked him, I said, no, he was the one who mentioned, he said, yeah, some patients come here and they talk about having pain in the stomach and stomach pain and so on. I told him, by the way, have you heard of that there's a cure for ulcer? I said, what do you use for ulcer? The doctor says, yeah, ulcer, we give them mist mag, we give them milk, and so on. And I said, okay. I said, okay, but are you aware there's a cure for ulcer? And he says, yeah, but the only thing we've discovered that cures ulcer is prayer. So, and I said, okay, it's good to pray, but if there is something is been there, by the time I was cured of ulcer, that was how many years ago? I was told that they discovered the cure for ulcer 10 or 15 years ago. At the time, but I'm talking to you now in 2001. And they were telling me that the cure for ulcer was discovered 10 years prior to the time I was being cured. So, and now you are talking to a doctor last year who was telling you that he's still using mist mag. You know, that's to tell you how reading can help you even in, say, some of these little things or advices. Not necessarily maths, or I'm good in maths, or I'm good in English. No. You know, some of these information are just in the public domain. And how do you do? If you go to Google and say cure for ulcer, they will tell you the cause that is caused by bacteria, and that these are the medication that you can take. Although those medications are not here. So I tend to now ask the question, are the doctors deliberately doing it, or they are not aware? You go to so many hospitals, they do not have internet facilities. They don't know. So basically what I'm saying is that when you have a sick patient, one, you need to know what is the reason, what is causing it. If it's just stomach pain, find out the causes of stomach pain, and at least have an idea of what could be the likely cause of his problems. You know, so that you are informed, you are talking to a doctor from an informed position, and not just what the doctor says. Are you with me now? As part of our quiz time, I will just ask a few questions, and then the rest will then be our take-home, which, as an assignment, which will need to be, you will need to be discussed on the grand finale. You have to present your points to the citizens so that we can hear what you have to say on some of the topics that I'm going to share with you. But prior to that, I have just a few questions again we are going to deliberate on, which is, one, what does it mean to be educated? And in addition to that, what makes you read? Why do you have to read? What makes you read? And why must you read? A worker is who? Someone who is told, do this. He does it. But a workforce is someone who imagines that, okay, I'm being asked to move this thing from here to here. Or I'm being asked to move this pot away. Yeah? Knowing that, okay, if I don't handle the pot very well, there's likelihood of those other colors, the sticks, to fall on the sideway. So you first take care of them. Yeah? That's how someone who is educated, that's how he thinks. It's not that, okay, you are being asked to move, then you move. You have to think about the ramification of what you are being asked to do and what is the likely fallout. And how do I ensure that it is done better? And so, a workforce must have imagination, creativity, innovativeness, as well as what? Analytical capability. And so, in conclusion, it is not only the ability to raise and answer questions that matters, but also the disposition to do so. For that matter, any set of intellectual objectives, any description of what it means to think deeply and critically should be accompanied by a reference to one's interest or intrinsic motivation, to do so thinking. Now, the goal of education is what? More education. To be well educated is what? To have the desire as well as the means to make sure that your learning never ends. What are your recommendations for improving the role of ICT in reading culture in Africa? I did not limit it to Nigeria alone. In Africa, we have common problems. As ICT improved or diminished the reading and social culture of the society, do you agree or disagree? As ICT improved or diminished the reading and social culture of the society, do you agree or disagree? Can you hold on to your culture and still progress in education? Does excelling in classwork makes you a success in life? Does excelling in your classwork makes you a success in life? The fact that I am the best in the class or in my group doesn't mean you'll be successful in life. That's the meaning. Okay, any other question before we round it up? No more questions. On this note, I hope we've been able to impact ourselves in one way or the other, and I hope that you'll be able to use the role. You see the role of ICT in improving your reading culture going forward from here, and I wish you the best from here. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Reach to Lead Africa is here again.
Africa's premier teenage cerebral and entertaining reality TV show is back with Season 3, The Emergence of Stars. For 30 days, 90 housemates of the Reach to Lead House shall battle for the grand prize of 2 million naira in scholarship and other fantastic prizes. The contests include words arrangement, spell it, public speaking, declamation contest, mambo jumbo, fastest and best, critical reasoning, mastermind series, the great debate and lots more, plus sports, parties, music, drama and plenty of laughter, showing daily on these channels. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can also watch episodes on our YouTube channel. Visit www.readtoleadafrica.tv or call 0802-315-7972 or 0818-331-9200. Produced by Reading Awareness Society for Development in Africa, RASDA. Read to Lead Africa Season 3, The Emergence of Stars. Don't miss a moment. There was lunch immediately after, another moment of goodness to share. Another session of briefing.
Have you guys come up with names for your groups?
Yes.
Okay.
Group 1,
What's your name? Sorry?
Group 1, who's your leader? Alright.
We can't hear you.
What inspired Touch?
Okay, thank you. Group 2?
Group 2, where's group 2? Where's...
Oh, okay. Okay. What's the group?
It's on. Focus. What inspired that?
Well, for you to get to this moment, you have to focus. So that focus, better confidence, we have meaning to this. Love and follow, hope we want, see focus, move for continue. So follow one is continue.
Oh my goodness!
That's...
Whose idea was that? Whose idea was that?
Who? You don't know the person's name. In this
Your group
house?
member.
No, your housemate.
And then it's bad enough you don't know your fellow housemate's name. And it's worse that you don't even know your group members.
Morakiyo. No problem. Now you know her name. Group 3.
The name of our group is The Great Illuminators.
Wow.
The Great Illuminator.
What inspired that?
To illuminate means at least you have lights that will shine. Maybe there may be light there before, but this kind of light that will shine will surpass the former. So the great illuminators, we're trying to use our own lives, our own group to affect others. That's it.
Great. And
Group 4.
Group 4.
I am Momoa.
The name of our team is Alpha Team.
Alpha Team.
What does that mean?
We sought at this name just to guess. We are few in number than others. We are only 4 in number. Why the first, second, and third groups are 5 in numbers?
Can we hear, please?
The alpha symbolizes our superiority. Although we are somehow few in number, but we have the superior, we have the order over others. the politicians that are leading us, they are not that many as their followers.
Okay.
So we believe and we have the passion that we are the one leading us.
Okay.
And not only this, we made something somehow tangible in our group. Each member has a name apart from
the group name. Can you tell us your names?
My name is Alpha 1.
Wow. Who's Alpha 2? Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Alpha 4. Wow. How did you come about the order? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I the leader. I'm the Alpha 1. So after casting lot,
okay,
I enclosed the name 2, 3, 4 inside the paper.
Okay. And they picked. So what do you intend to achieve with the individual names?
When we are holding our meeting, there is not a much for us to be calling the surname and the name.
Okay.
So we are calling the name.
Yeah.
Alpha 1, Alpha 2, easily. Even that's the help us to know ourselves more.
Okay, that's unique, it's different. That's a clap for them, please.
Okay. You guys shouldn't make that mistake. It's Alpha, not Alpha. The Alpha group.
Then most of the things learned during the day are rearranged and tabulated on paper, a mind mapping session. And if we are to assess the IQ in this context, one will see that the set of students we have in the Reads to Lead house stand head and shoulder above their peers anywhere in the world. The day has been great, as designed by God Almighty and created by Him to showcase the fact that His banner over us is love.